Bible in a Year, the Message Version, April 4, Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 1 through Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26. Once you, Israel, enter the land that God your God is giving you as an inheritance and take it over and settle down, you are to take some of all the first fruits of what you grow in the land that God your God is giving you. Put them in a basket and go to the place God your God sets apart for you to worship him. At that time, go to the priest who is there and say, I announce to God, your God, today that I have entered the land that God promised our ancestors and that he give to us. The priest will take the basket from you and place it on the altar of God, your God, and there in the presence of God, your God, you will recite, A wandering Aramean was my father. He went down to Egypt and sojourned there, he and just a handful of his brothers at first, but soon they became a great nation, mighty and many. The Egyptians abused and battered us in a cruel, savage slavery. We cried out to God, the God of our fathers. He listened to our voice. He saw our destitution, our trouble, our cruel plight. And God took us out of Egypt, and with his strong hand and long arm, terrible and great, with signs and miracle wonders. And he brought us to this place, gave us this land flowing with milk and honey. So here I am. I've brought the first fruits of what I've grown on this land. You gave me, O God. Then place it in the presence of God your God. Bow low in the presence of God your God, and rejoice. Celebrate all the good things that God your God has given you and your family, you and the Levite and the foreigner who lives with you. Every third year, the year of the tithe, give a tenth of your produce to the Levite, the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow, so that they may eat their fill in your cities. And then in the presence of God your God, say this: I have brought the sacred share. I have given it to the Levite, foreigner, orphan, and widow. What you commanded, I've done. I haven't detoured around your commands. I haven't forgotten a single one. I haven't eaten from the sacred share while mourning. I haven't removed any of it while ritually unclean. I haven't used it in funeral feasts. I have listened obediently to the voice of God my God. I have lived the way you commanded me. Look down from your holy house in heaven. Bless your people Israel and the ground you gave us, just as you promised our ancestors you would, this land flowing with milk and honey. This very day, God your God commands you to follow these rules and regulations, to live them out with everything you have in you. You've renewed your vows today that God is your God, that you'll live the way he shows you, do what he tells you in the rules, regulations, and commandments, and listen obediently to him. And today, God has reaffirmed that you are dearly held treasures, just as he promised, a people entrusted with keeping his commandments, a people set high above all other nations that he's made, high in praise, fame, and honor. You're a people holy to God, your God. That's what he has promised. Moses commanded the leaders of Israel and charged the people, keep every commandment that I command you today. On the day you cross the Jordan into the land that God your God is giving you, erect large stones and coat them with plaster. Build an altar of stones for God your God there on the mountain. Don't use an iron tool on the stones. Build the altar to God your God with uncut stones and offer your whole burnt offering on it to God your God. When you sacrifice your peace offering, you will also eat them there, rejoicing in the presence of God your God. Write all the words of this revelation on the stone. Incise them sharply. Moses and the Levitical priests addressed all Israel. Quiet. Listen obediently, Israel. This very day, You have become the people of God, your God. Listen to the voice of God, your God. Keep his commandments and regulations that I'm commanding you today. That day Moses commanded, after you've crossed the Jordan, these tribes will stand on Mount Gerizim to bless the people: Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And these will stand on Mount Ebal for the curse: Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. The Levites, acting as spokesmen and speaking loudly, will address Israel. God's curse on anyone who carves or casts a god image, an abomination to God, made by a craftsman, and sets it up in secret. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who demeans a parent. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who moves his neighbor's boundary marker. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who misdirects a blind man on the road. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who interferes with justice due the foreigner, orphan, or widow. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who has sex with his father's wife. He has violated the woman who belongs to his father. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who has sex with an animal. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who has sex with his sister, the daughter of his father or mother. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who has sex with his mother-in-law. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who kills his neighbor in secret. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on anyone who takes a bribe to kill an innocent person. All respond, yes, absolutely. God's curse on whoever does not give substance to the words of this revelation by living them. All respond, yes, absolutely. Luke chapter 10, verse 38 through chapter 11, verse 13. As they continued their travel, Jesus entered a village. A woman by the name of Martha welcomed him and made him feel quite at home. She had a sister, Mary, who sat before the Master, hanging on every word he said. But Martha was pulled away by all she had to do in the kitchen. Later she stepped in, interrupting them. Master, don't you care that my sister has abandoned the kitchen to me? Tell her to lend me a hand, the Master said. Martha, dear Martha, you're fussing too much and getting yourself worked up over nothing. One thing only is essential, and Mary has chosen it. It's the main course and won't be taken from her. One day he was praying in a certain place. When he finished, one of his disciples said, Master, teach us to pray just as John taught his disciples. So he said, when you pray, say, Father, reveal who you are. Set the world right. Keep us alive with 3 square meals. Keep us forgiven with you and forgiving others. Keep us safe from ourselves and the devil. Then he said, imagine what would happen if you went to a friend in the middle of the night and said, Friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. An old friend traveling through just showed up, and I don't have a thing on hand. The friend answers from his bed, Don't bother me. The door is locked. My children are all down for the night. I can't get up to give you anything. But let me tell you, even if he won't get up because he's a friend, If you stand your ground, knocking and waking all the neighbors, he'll finally get up and get you whatever you need. Here's what I'm saying. Ask, and you'll get. Seek, and you'll find. Knock, and the door will open. Don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This is not a cat and mouse hide and seek game we're in. If your little boy asks for a serving of fish, do you scare him with a live snake on his plate? If your little girl asks for an egg, do you trick her with a spider? As bad as you are, you wouldn't think of such a thing. You're at least decent to your own children. And don't you think the Father, who conceived you in love, will give the Holy Spirit when you ask Him? Psalm chapter 76, verse 1 through verse 12. An Asaph Psalm. God is well known in Judah. In Israel, He's a household name. He keeps a house in Salem, His own suite of rooms in Zion. That's where, using arrows for kindling, He made a bonfire of weapons of war. Oh, how bright you shine, outshining their huge piles of loot. The warriors were plundered and left there, important. And now there's nothing to them, nothing to show for their swagger and threats. Your sudden roar, God of Jacob, knocked the wind out of horse and rider. Fierce you are, and fearsome. Who can stand up to your rising anger? From heaven you thunder judgment. Earth falls to her knees and holds her breath. God stands tall and makes things right. He saves all the wretched on earth. Instead of smoldering rage, God praise. All that sputtering rage, now a garland for God. Do for God what you said you'd do. He is, after all, your God. Let everyone in town bring offerings to the one who watches our every move. Nobody gets by with anything. No one plays fast and loose with him. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15 through verse 17. Fools are headstrong and do what they like. Wise people take advice. Fools have short fuses and explode all too quickly. The prudent quietly shrug off insults. Truthful witness by a good person clears the air, but liars lay down a smokescreen of deceit. This was a daily reading of the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.